Go for it, Connor.
Making sure that before we assemble our miniatures, we please read through the instructions in this booklet carefully. It's the Vox Cascadia podcast.
Tyler, do you have any comments about that technique?
I mean, for miniatures, I never read the manual, but unless it's commandos, and then other than that, basically RTFM is how I made my entire living as an adult.
I thought you did. I thought even commandos. You said you didn't read the manual.
I bought it and brought it out for commandos, but it was still bad. I don't think I've ever fully. I mean, like I have all the bodies assembled. I've just never. The kit was so bad.
I'm actually playing commandos this weekend in our tournament, so we'll get into that a little bit. But welcome to the Vox Cascadia podcast. I'm Chuck. You heard Connor with the intro, our buddy Tyler, and then Greg is joining us all the way from the East Coast. Greg, how you doing, bud?
Doing pretty well. Glad to be here.
Greg, what's the future like? Have we solved cancer yet?
Yes, but you will never get access to the treatment.
That's just too real. Damn it.
Yeah, that's ouch.
Yeah.
That cuts deep.
Yeah, that's it. That cyberpunk shit.
I wouldn't ever expect anything less from Greg, though. Let's be real.
Pretty much, yeah. So, how y'all doing tonight, Tyler? What have you been up to?
I've been working, man. Like other than that, not too much. We've had a couple meetings lately. Talking about exciting stuff going on later this year. CritCon, the second round, Kill Scream, stuff like that. So we've been talking to people. We got a meeting tomorrow to go over some stuff. Check out a place, which is really exciting. Not related to CritCon, a separate thing. And then I got a meeting Thursday night with one of the people that we're having out for CritCon potentially, one of the painters. So it's been a lot of that. We're starting to gear up for this big year we're looking to have. Yeah,
that reminds me, I need to reach out to Jess, who we've been working with. Jess, if you're listening, I don't know how you would be. Hit me up, girl. And by hit me up, I mean through email about business stuff, nothing else.
Call me, beat me, text me.
Yeah, this is getting a little suspicious.
Yeah, I gave her my beeper number.
The hell's a beeper? Is that like a pager?
Connor, you've been watching The Wire, haven't you?
I
have. It Greg that's been watching?
No, I haven't. I've never heard the term beeper. Is that just another term for pager?
Yeah. Do you think that like people were just like out here like, my pager? Like there wasn't like any other terms? Come on.
I don't know. I wasn't alive.
The Wire, they don't say beeper?
I don't actually think so. I mean, I can't. Listen, Greg, if you're asking me to go rewatch the show again for like the third time in a month, I will, just to double check. But
how fast do you go through shows, Connor?
I go through shows extremely quickly. I'm pretty good. If I've never seen a show first, it'll get my sole undivided attention. If I have seen it, I put it on the TV while I clip out minis and stuff.
Okay.
It took me like 6 months to watch The Wire, and this was like 20 years ago. But
it took me
it's
about
like it's so good, but the pacing of it, like you have to take your time with it. I can't imagine binging it.
I binge it because, especially season 4 really hits me in the heart because it's like you see all the kids that are affected by this institutions and stuff. So I gotta like not skip through it, but I'm like I need to watch this in one sitting. Otherwise, I'll let my mind stew on it too long, and I'll like make myself cry like I did the first time watching it.
Season 4 is so good.
It's probably the best season of any TV show there is.
I think you convinced me the other day to watch The Wire eventually, Greg. I'll probably watch it after my partner and I finish up Supernatural.
Nice. Which will probably be a year from now because there's like 1 million episodes and they're an hour long, right?
For sure. Yeah. We're doing one episode a night, like if but like we're just getting to like the good part. We just finished up season 1. And that's where like the tension starts to build. And she's definitely like a binge watcher when stuff like gets anxious, and it for sure does later in the seasons.
So I actually went and Googled it. I want you guys to I need everybody to guess how many episodes of Supernatural there is, because it was a very different number than I thought it would be. Greg, how many do you think there is?
Can we know the amount of seasons?
No.
Okay.
Somewhere in the range of 200.
Okay, Connor?
Am I allowed to know, is it an hour-long show or a 30-minute show? Because that would have
45-minute-long show.
45, so it's an hour time slot. I'm going to say 184.
Tyler, how many episodes would you say?
Like 374, I would say, because there's like 17 seasons, and like 22 episodes a season generally, I want to say.
So it's 15 seasons, and it's 327 freaking episodes. So yeah, it's
Oh,
going to be
damn.
at least a year before you get to the wire.
No, we'll get to it faster than that. But yeah, it's good to rewatch it. Hopefully, I'll actually finish it this time.
Is that the show that? Oh well, dang it. Can I talk about a potential spoiler then, Tyler?
I mean, I've seen most of it myself.
Is
My
that the
partner's not
show
seen any.
that's essentially ended with like them soft confirming there's like the gay characters or like the love interest
Yeah.
between?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
believe so. Yeah, I think that,
Sierra used to be a huge fan of it. I remember when that broke, I saw her and like a bunch of her friends like losing their shit because they all started watching, in like middle school and stuff.
one of my favorite things about the show is like how insane the power scaling is. Like, because they go from like hunting like it's like monster of the week. It's like a ghost. It's like a spooky haunted book, stuff like that, to like fucking killing God. Not too far into the seasons, which is like that's like a little bit of an exaggeration, but like not really. Like
Yeah, not really.
like not really at all. Like people are like, oh, like what horror movie villains would last, would be a problem for Sam and Dean. It's like none of them. All of them would be a 45-minute episode. Like no fucking problem. Like Candyman gone, Jason gone, Michael Myers gone. Like none of them are any problem for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, how far in you are the how far in you? How far in you? How far
That's
are
for the
you?
only spans.
Yeah. How far in it are you, Tyler?
We're at season 2, episode 2. So like just when it's starting to gear up. Like we haven't even got to like Crowley and Destiel or Castiel and stuff like that. So I'm showing my Tumblr heritage right there.
No, yeah, you were saying words that I remember Sierra saying.
Yeah, yep. I was on Tumblr back in the olden days, I'm old on the internet.
Well, it's Kill Team podcast. Let's talk Kill Team hobby stuff. Greg, you in the green room, you mentioned you're going to be getting a game of Kill Team in this week.
Yeah, finally, for like the first time in 5 months, I'm supposed to play a game on Friday at my local game store, and I'm excited.
That's amazing.
Hell yeah.
What are you going to be playing?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. They've never played the game before, so I don't think it's going to be like a full-on sweaty thing or anything. I was probably just going to bring Brood Brothers and let him like shoot my Brood Brothers.
What
Just bring Warp Coven and ruin his life.
Hey, Warp Coven are fair now, right?
I don't know about that one.
I don't think so.
No, not far from it. They're probably
Hyrotech Circle would be the one to play if I want to get dumpstered.
I think Warp Coven is still in contention for possibly one of the best teams in the game currently. If you think otherwise, you're wrong. Just wrong. Like they're so good still. There's just like a lot of potential there.
Interesting. Greg, what team is your opponent bringing? Do you know that?
I don't know.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe go like a thematic enemy, like if they're going, like Chaos Marines, you bring Loyalists or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, something that I have like completed. Unfortunately, a lot of my I still haven't painted up the extra guys for like Legionaries and Angels of Death to make them work in the new rosters and everything. So my Brood Brothers are 100% complete, so I can just bring them. I guess I could bring Breachers if I really want to get stomped, but
you could also bring Wormblade.
I could. I do have that.
Your Wormblade are beautiful, by the way. One of my favorite teams to fight against, and one of the teams I fought against the most.
Definitely, probably the most games we ever had was that Wormblade versus Novicius matchup.
Right, I think we played that. I don't know, like 200 times.
It was certainly a lot. Not as many as there are Supernatural episodes, though.
Connor, you been up to anything? Anything on the hobby desk, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I went 0-3 on Sunday with Vetguard, but I had a great time, which is fun because even if I'm doing bad, they're a really fun team to play. Then I played against good old Grant, who let me borrow his models last night. Funnily enough, we played his Vetguard versus his Commandos on Volkus. So we were like, we're just redoing the full season. Managed to snag out some of the most bullshit like saves of a guardsman in life, like multiple times getting shot, roll 2 saves and a crit, like at least 3 or 4 times. So that was really satisfying.
Are you still all in on the Vetguard train? This is your team for this season?
Maybe not for the season, but at least till Adepticon, yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it's one of the more complex teams, and they got a little bit of a buff. How do you feel after their the data slate update with them?
They definitely got better. I don't really remember what they were like before the data slate, but this is the fact that now I think they went from balanced to ceaseless and all the guardsman orders, and then the ploy is now like accurate one and saturate. They hit surprisingly well for a ballistic skill team.
Well, it's good to hear that they're getting a little bit of love before they get dumpstered into declassified or whatever the hell it is now. That doesn't matter. I've been playing the other half of the Octarius box. Actually, I've been playing the Commandos, and so since I mentioned this before, I think, but Nick and I are gonna, for the tag team or the team tournament this weekend, we're gonna be doing Commandos, and he's just finishing up his Rekka crew, so we're gonna go full Orky goodness. So I actually got to play with Sam down at the coast this weekend, one of our Patrons, by the way. Another Patreon on the show tonight, Greg. Met him up at Obelisk Brewing, and we had some beers and I played against his Nemesis Claw and just eked out a win. I think it was 17-13, but I could not kill his leader. I wiped everybody else off the board. His leader ended the game at full health. So I must have put all my good rolls into everybody else, because I think I got him with a cheeky squig move and ended up bombing two of his guys and taking him down to like half health and finished him off in turn 2, and then just picked off the rest of his team, but couldn't do anything as a leader.
He's like Talos. He foresaw everything you were going to do, and all his friends fell around him.
He really did, and he just kept destroying everyone. And this is the third kind of competitive game that I've played with Commandos since I picked them up to try and learn them for this tournament. I have yet to do a single thing with my leader. My leader has died, I think, without hitting a single person in 3 straight games. So
you gotta fix that, buddy.
I know. So if you're playing me this weekend, don't worry about my leader. He doesn't do anything.
I don't think
I might say you have to polish your knob skills.
Yeah, you'd think since I was a teenage boy and now I'm in my 40s, that I'd have some sweet knob game. But my knob game apparently is not on point.
It's just weak. He doesn't have that knob game, girls.
Knob's weak.
Boys,
you heard it here. Everybody, both sides of the aisle, knob game weak.
Sorry to hear that, man. I think they make pills for that.
I mean,
like the stuff that helps with keeping your attention, so that way you can make sure your knob is effective.
Yeah, and now a word from our sponsor,
Hims.
Hims.
Or Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, Blue Chew, or whatever.
Are you in your mid-40s? Erectile dysfunction got you down? Discreetly through the mail, we'll send you some boner pills. Trust me, yeah. They're not only my sponsor, I'm a client.
They come in a brown box with not boner pills in large letters on the outside, so that no one will think you're buying boner pills.
It says not boner pills, but then it's got a big giant cock on the outside of it, so it was kind of confusing, like as stealthy as they want to be. Oh, it's a fucking bicep. God, I should have just told everybody I was on steroids and not boner pills. Damn it. All right, I'll cut that out.
We're really never going to get a sponsorship other than from those guys.
Yeah, I think we just secured our first sponsorship. You reach out to us, those places. We'll take your money for those things.
Connor, what if what if they could get you insulin? You know?
I mean, I would like that. What's the one that Mark Cuban has or whatever?
I don't remember. I know he was trying to make medicine cheap, and
someone succeeded.
Good RX.
Yeah, that one. I'll take that. Yeah, I think so.
No, I mean, I think that's what he owns, but that's just like a coupon thing, and just like sources coupons.
Cost plus is what it is, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is that like Costco?
Yes, it's Costco, but not that at all. Besides that, yes.
Do you guys know who the Costco guys are?
Boom!
All
right, chocolate chip cookie.
All right. I'm gonna end this podcast right fucking now. Actually, the real Costco guy is the deals guy. You guys ever watch that guy?
Yeah, you made us watch him at ShuckyCon.
Yeah. Jenna was upset.
That's right. I'm very faithful to Jenna, except for when it comes to my friends and Nick specifically, who's like, let's watch the Costco guy without her.
I mean, Nick could probably convince you to. Yeah, I mean, we know that about Nick. Nick is always like, what if we were just to paint one more mini? Come on, guys, just stay up and drink one more beer and paint one more mini.
I honestly really wish Nick was like, let's stay up and paint one more mini. Nick's like let's stay on the couch and watch more YouTube videos. And finally, one of us has to drag the other one into the painting room to actually do something. But no, Nick's the guy that's like, hey, Chuck, you've had a couple beers. Here's an ad for the entire Army Painter set or a new airbrush. And I fall for it every time.
Okay. So that's how it works.
Yeah, I'm a slut that way too.
Okay,
That's
good to know. Like you're giving us all your secrets before our coast trip in the future. So we appreciate it. Any further tips that we need to know, Nick? I know that you're listening, so shoot them my way. Post them up in chat. You know, we need these. They're valuable.
Well, we're here tonight to talk about Kill Team because it's apparently a Kill Team podcast, and we talked about boners for 15 minutes now. But we have a new segment, and this will probably be a recurring segment. It's part of the reason we have Greg on tonight, not just because we love and miss him, but also because Greg knows the rules. Greg was our head judge until he abandoned us, and still
dragged away. Like, please, Greg would never abandon.
Yeah, he didn't do it willingly.
Yeah, he was dragged away. The Inquisition took him. Duty calls or
black ships, stuff. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I heard another story over drinks with Greg one night, but maybe I was just making that up myself too.
That's fair.
So our buddy from California, Highlander Rob, actually reached out, and this is his idea. So all my best ideas I steal from someone else. So
thank you, Rob.
We're going to do Sweat Court. What you are listening to is kind of real. The participants are not actors, as you'll soon hear. They are actual Kill Team players with beef regarding rules interactions, sourced from our community. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Sweat Court.
Oh, that's such a banger! Like, that's so good. It's a shame that cop shows, and like law shows, they always have such great themes.
What type of music is that called? Is there
cop
like
music?
But yeah, I don't know. Is there like a
jazz?
Yeah,
it's jazz, swing, big band.
Yeah, because it made me think of like all those noir movies. I'm like, man, this is some good shit.
Yeah, I got that song on my Arbides playlist, which I will send over to Chuck to post in the comments for people to listen to. It's a bunch of cop songs.
You've got a playlist for like everything.
Yeah,
I don't have a playlist. You have a playlist for everything.
You don't have a playlist? Chuck, how do you listen to music?
He doesn't. He's not like a music person. He just listens to Pandora, which is like different.
I don't have playlists either, Chuck. You're not alone.
Yeah. Thank you,
guys.
I'm an album guy.
No playlist unite.
Albums are okay. I'll accept that. But Chuck, that's crazy.
No, I'm literally just like, I turn on like lo-fi chill station on Pandora and it plays the same 35 songs over and over again with some commercials for boner pills.
Yeah, Chuck is that guy who's like, when you're like, what kind of music do you listen to? He's like, I'm not really into music. And you're like, what do you mean? And like, you don't really understand until you get to know him,
Not that I'm not into music. It's just all I listen to is a bunch of crappy EDM stuff. So, and audiobooks and podcasts like the Vox Cascadia podcast, which by the way, do you guys go back and listen to us? I did at the beginning and I haven't as much. And I went back and listened to us recently. I'm like, man, we sound pretty good.
Yeah, I peek in. I listen to a little bit here and there, up our listen numbers when I can, at least 30 seconds at a time. But yeah, we're more listenable than we were at the beginning.
I always listen when we have a guest. Those are always fun episodes to record, and then fun to go back and listen to.
Yeah, it's different when you get to actually hear the guests talk when you're not like talking with them. It's a different experience.
Well, the reason we're here, though, to get back on track, is Sweat Court. So Sweat Court, as Highlander Rob had the idea for us, Sweat Court is essentially rules that are, or plays in Kill Team that are legal plays, rules as written, but by making this play, are you being a good player? Are you being an overly sweaty player? Or is this just like a bad sportsmanship play, even though it's like rules as written and it still counts? So I'm going to be the bailiff. Greg is our judge, and Connor and Tyler are going to be the prosecutor and the defense. So
I even put on my first communion tie for tonight.
All right, I'm the prosecutor in this situation because I'm going to call you a sweaty bitch, regardless. I want people to play fun, but also fairly, you know?
So let's start off with the first case. So this was one that Rob submitted to us. So Rob said his Warpfold Wraith Cannon, he can move it up to the midline with his second to last activation. Then he can Wraith Cannon activate, dash, eliminate an operative. Now he did warn the player that he was playing against that he can get a shot just on about anyone who takes a mid area. But is this play and doing this maneuver, is this good sportsmanship or sweaty bad sportsmanship?
Who goes first on a law thing? I don't know.
So as the prosecutor, I'm going to say that you should be giving your opponent the benefit of doubt, and always double, triple inform them before they move their opponent, the operative there. Be like, don't forget about this. I don't actually believe this, by the way. This is going to be a hard one to argue because I think actually, if you set it up, like you let it happen, you deserve it, especially in Kill Team.
Now that's the point of a good prosecutor, though, is that even though you don't believe in it, you have to fight for the law. You have to fight for what's good or what people said was good. So, absolutely. Connor,
letter of the law, it is legal and it's fair. It's going to happen. If you walk a guy out into the middle of the board and someone can walk out and shoot you, don't you deserve it? Every team can do that for the most part. It's not like Corsairs are that different.
So, Tyler, you're saying that this is then this is a sweaty bitch move?
I would not prosecute on this one, personally.
Okay. Now, Tyler, or excuse me, Connor, someone pulls this move on you, or you pull this move on an opponent. I want you to defend this move that you've played.
It's called Kill Team. I got to kill. That's the point of the game. Plus, as Rob says in evidence document A, he did warn the opponent before the turn that he could get a shot on just about anyone who makes it to the mid area, quote unquote. And if the opponent can't hear that and remember that, that's on them.
All right, Judge Greg, we're gonna need a ruling on this. Is this
a couple things I think need to be taken into account. So, like, did the person move a whole bunch of dudes up that you have your shot on your pick of them, or is it like the last dude they moved up and now you're taking your shot? I think if they're a new player and you're trying to help them learn the game, be like, hey, I reminded you before, but if you end that move right there, I'm going to shoot you with my Wraith Cannon, and maybe give them a chance to take it back. If it's tournament setting, obviously light their ass up. Then again, as I said before, if they moved a bunch of people out and he's got his pick of shots, well, yeah, light them up.
So what's your ruling on this? Is this a sweaty douchebag play, or is this just a good move?
I mean, this is Kill Team. Do some killing. I file a countersuit for wasting the court's time on this one.
All right. Okay. So we have our first ruling. Let's get to the next one.
What show is this from? Is this CSI or Law? No,
wait,
Law and
hold
Order.
on. That's Law and Order.
Okay,
clearly,
okay.
Man.
Sorry. Yeah, CSI is where they put on the glasses and it goes, yeah, and then okay.
That's CSI Miami.
That's just Miami.
I'm sorry. The only ones I think I've seen was NCIS, like when my parents would watch it.
That's not even CSI.
I know, but that I said NCIS.
So Connor,
I don't watch those shows, but I know the meme. Come on, man.
The best cop show that probably most people haven't seen is Under Arrest. It's a Canadian version of Cops, which is better. Like they're just nicer than American Cops in general. But the really good part is season 4, episode 1, Go Nuts. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's just like the opening scene of it. It's probably the wildest reality TV I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not going to describe it. Anyone who watches it, please post in our Discord or DM me on Instagram or wherever you can reach us. Let us know what you think.
Now this isn't like a parody like Reno 911. This is actual like.
Oh no, this is real, and it's insane. I hope that you watch it tonight. I believe it's on some streaming service. It's insane. That scene, that first segment on there is the most insane bit of television I've ever seen in my entire life.
Connor, I have a quick question for you. With the CSI NCIS thing, do you think that all shows that are just acronyms are the same show, just they take place in a different area with different actors?
No, obviously not. I just know that like NCIS and CSI relatively follow like a detective thing of like solving a crime in like an hour's worth of slot TV.
I was curious just because I was wondering if you thought that the NBA and the NFL were also part of the NCIS CSI genre.
That would
No,
be super awesome.
that would be really cool though. Don't give
that'd get me into sports so fast. Like if we had like Detective Benson investigating sports crimes throughout the season, like
yeah, or like
There were-
Marshawn Lynch has to go solve a double homicide while like Greg's or whatever the guy from NCIS has to go be a fucking like offensive lineman or some shit.
for real. Like yeah,
Watch the shit out of that.
I'm in on this.
NBA, NCIS, B&B, STD. I don't know. So tax something else on
I took a pill I got from him.
In Ibiza?
Sponsor in the show notes, and I got that STD gone. That STD is mostly gone. Case 2. This is one that's near and dear to my heart. So, and this is we're arguing previous cases so we can set case law so we can use those in the future. In the last edition, Kasrkin, the best kill team there was, had an ability to take Vital Objective as one of their secondaries, and they could use reposition in the strategic phase to move off of an objective, call that one then their Vital Objective, and move right back on it later to score points. So, Tyler, is the Kasrkin starting on an objective at the start of the turn, moving off with the reposition during the strategy phase, then saying, actually, that's my Vital Objective? How do you prosecute that?
I think that anyone who would argue against that is like clearly biased against people with disabilities, and we don't tolerate that. Like we have, the American Disabilities Act to protect against prejudice like this, and that's why it's not sweaty, because the Kasrkin needed something.
That's true. I'll accept that as a Kasrkin, one of my near and dear to my heart. Hopefully they get a buff.
The handicaps are in.
Ouch. They went Caster Kings, Caster Knots, and then handicap Sirkin. Connor, what about you? What's your defense on this?
So I have to defend the ploy. Yeah, that's fair. You're spending a command point to even get the risk of getting an objective, especially back then when command points didn't come nearly as often. And Kasrkin were pretty bad. That was a viable move because it was like one of the two ways they could score points.
Greg, what's your ruling on this?
I have to say it's kind of a silly wording on the part of the game developer. I think really they should be standing in front of the court for, not making the TAC op written better. But honestly, the faction TAC ops as a whole really should have been subjected to this court. But as for this specific instance, I don't think it's a particularly sweaty play. Like everybody else said, the poor Kasrkin needed some help, and it was one of the few ways they had to score some TAC op points. So I'll let them have it.
So not guilty. Thank you.
There was like 3 weeks where they were like really good, though. Like that was a good time for them.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there was 3 weeks where everybody thought they were really good when they got their buff to the elite points, where you could discard a dice to make another one. But I still don't think they had the juice to get them where they're going. At least my Kasrkin never had the juice to get it where I need to go.
I think the main problem was the meta shift. Like that change happened before the meta shift hard away from elites. And once that happened and like Goats and Gellerpox became, some of the top teams, Kasrkin were just getting their faces beat in.
Yeah, it was like the next box that we got the Goats, and that was like a huge meta shift there. And those boxes I feel like came pretty close together, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they were both into the dark.
I mean, Gellerpox and goats were pretty far apart, but either way, like, yeah, just the way the meta shifted. Yeah.
All right, on to our next case. This one comes from Zach. Zach says, Salvo can shoot into combat because it says valid target, not the other part of the shoot sequence. So I think what Zach is saying is that if you have salvo on a gun, you can target one guy and then still target someone who's in combat, or actually maybe he's saying that just because salvo lets you shoot someone who's in combat without that. Greg, real quick, do you know how salvo works? We can maybe.
Which operative has it? I'm gonna have to look up the wording on this.
I don't know.
I want to say it's like one of the pistol people.
I believe the Corsair has
that's
it.
right. No, the Corsair has a different one.
Oh, maybe Crute. It's one of the dual pistol.
I think it
people.
might be
maybe Inquisition.
Farstalker.
Yeah. Whichever one has it, though, it is a sweaty move to try to argue that is valid. Ultimately, everything needs to come back to the core rules when we're arguing something. If something does not align with those core rules, without a statement on there providing an exception specifically for that portion of the rule, then it is not valid.
Okay, so the salvo rule specifically is worded: select up to 2 valid targets. Shoot with this weapon against both of them in an order of your choice. Roll each sequence separately. But the Crute Pistolier does not have like an ability to shoot into combat. So, how does that interaction work, Chuck?
Well, he's saying salvo can shoot into combat because it just says valid target, not the other part of the shoot sequence.
Yeah, because it's under the shoot action that specifically mentions you can't shoot into combat. A valid target rule doesn't make that distinction. So
yeah, I think that's well. I'll give my ruling at the end. I'll let y'all present your argument.
Well, Connor, so Tyler said this is a sweaty play, and how are you going to defend it not being sweaty and just?
It's not sweaty because if Games Workshop wanted to define it, then they would have included in the valid target step of just that, not of the shoot action, that you can't fire into combat. And rules as written, that is allowed. Whether I believe that is a fair interpretation, I can't say. But if we're going purely rules as written, 100% legal, baby.
Well, we're not going purely rules as written, though. We're going, are you a sweaty douchebag, or is this?
Well, that's the only way I can debate it as not sweaty.
Okay. And then, Greg, you're ruling?
You know, I'm going to rule sweaty douchebag on this one, definitely. It does say select valid target, but you're still performing the shoot action to do this. So I think you're really trying to game the rules to say that this is somehow a legal play. And yeah, you are a sweaty douchebag, and you should be sentenced to the Screaming Gallery. So,
what's the Screaming Gallery?
Oh, ow! Ooh, you haven't finished Night Lord's Omnibus?
No, I got into the second book, and I got kind of, they were running around a Space Hulk or something, or a Imperial ship, and there was guys with shotguns or breachers, and I got kind of stuck in that.
There's definitely a couple moments in those books that drag. Third book for me, there was moments that really dragged, but overall, like they're worth finishing.
See, and I've heard the second book is supposed to be the best book, is what everybody's told me, and I couldn't get into it. I don't know if I just had a little too much Warhammer at that time and needed a palate cleanser, but yeah, it wasn't working for me.
The pacing is definitely different from other Warhammer books, and I think definitely different than what you would expect from a book about Night Lords, because it's so introspective, and so much of it is just spent on them being melancholy and talking about how much they hate themselves and hate the universe and hate everything. But I don't know. I still think they're fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was my favorite of the series. Also, the third one, comes out like the ending of it is like phenomenal. And you need the middle parts to add the context to it, but the second one is really where it shines.
All right, and next case. So, Tyler, you're definitely going to be I think Tyler is actually going to be the defense on this one. And Connor,
Oh.
you have to prosecute why this is a sweaty douchebag mood. So Owen asked about Hand of the Archon and passing on the primary for the leader. Now, this has been fixed, but previously for Hand of the Archon, in the strategic gambit phase or strategic ploys or whatever, everybody had to pick your secondary or your tac op. But you could actually, Hand of the Archon have the ability to pass on it, meaning, and if the other player passed, nobody got their secondary. So Tyler,
That no one got their primary.
primary. Second,
Listen, I don't like the terminology either, but primary op is the secret one.
well, I call primary op is the crit op.
Yeah,
Secondary
I agree.
op is the tac op, which is the primary op. So.
Too many. Honestly, the ops in this edition are confusing as fuck.
So, with these confusing things, Tyler, I need you to defend why Hand of the Archon passing and the other player passing and nobody getting whatever the fucking op is a valid move and not sweaty douchebag.
I mean, like, it was peak kill team right there. Like, you really, it's a gamble, you know, like, and that's what Hand of the Archon's about. It's about that gamble, you know. We're just a step away from degenerate gamblers, most of us, with our dice rolling. So, you know, like, Hand of the Archon was just like the fix to that. You know, like, why? Come on, like, man, like, are you a coward? You don't want to pass? You know, you don't want to pass on your tac ops turning point one, like, and just like go straight into it. You don't think you can beat me otherwise? Like, come on, don't be chicken. Let's do this.
Connor, why is this a sweaty douchebag move?
Because it's giving you a command point that you don't really deserve, because by the definition of the game, you need to have a primary op for scoring. Tournaments don't allow you to not select primary op on like things like BCP, so denying that to your opponent is a sweaty douchebag move.
That sounds like an issue with BCP not being able to put the times. Can't you just like select 0 for it? I believe, you know. So I don't see why it's an issue. You just don't score anything.
No, for reference, BCP, you have to select one of the three. There's not even an option not to. It will not let you submit the score. But that's fair. That could have been a BCP issue. But rather, BCP is pretty good at representing the rules of the game. They stay up to date for the most part. So if you can't even run a tournament properly because of that, you're just being a sweaty douchebag.
Yeah. I think that BCP, I'm going to actually submit this as an issue and get it fixed, although we can't do it anymore.
Now, Greg, you've heard the defense and the prosecution. How do you rule?
You know, I rule that you are a Dark Eldar player by trying to defend this. I mean, Tyler presents a good argument, and it is very fitting play for the Dark Eldar to do this. That being said, it, you know, does not feel good for anyone else, which, again, Dark Eldar MO. So you are guilty, and I sentence you to the fighting pits of Kimura.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair sentence.
You're welcome.
I'll accept it. Anyone who wants to debate me about this, come fight me on the tabletop.
Tyler, did you decide what you're bringing this weekend?
No, well, here's the thing. I've decided, but I'm not going to tell anyone because that's what I do also.
Oh, I mean, you know, I feel like if you're a true Dark Eldar player, you just want to get it out there and be like, what? This is what I'm taking. Come fight me.
I mean, but also we're the, you know, like the thing about being Dark Eldar players that, or like a Dark Eldar fan, is that you're the best. You know, you're the sneakiest, you're the killiest, you're the spikiest. So like, you know, if that's like what I am, that's what I am, and you'll see it that day.
You know, I know you all have your feelings about the Mike Brooks Orc novels, but there's an exchange in the second one, the Big Daka. For a bit of context, I guess the Orc warband found themselves in Kimura and they're fighting Dark Eldar, but the leader is captured by the Dark Eldar and has an exchange with one of them, and he, you know, he's basically saying, you don't like fighting. Like, what are you talking about? You know, we love violence. We love, you know, murdering people, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you don't like fighting. You just like killing. You don't fight people, you know, face to face, hand to hand, try to test to see who's better. You only want to kill someone if you know that there's no chance they're going to kill you in return. It is a very nice exchange. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
And this was the orc that was telling this to the Dark Eldar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps
I
getting
mean,
bigger
you
and
know,
bigger and finds himself able to think as he gets bigger and bigger.
you know, it's weird that Night Lords, Dark Eldar, those are the factions that that appeal to me at a core level. Does that say something about me? Do I need therapy, y'all?
I
Yes, but
think
I don't
that
know if
is
it's for that.
therapy.
Okay, yeah,
That
that's
is your
fair.
therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Next case. Thanks, Tyler.
I thought I was muted.
You were not muted. Let's leaving that in.
Perfect.
It's good pod. So.
That was a good one. Sorry about that, y'all. Excuse me.
Oh, I mean, this is a tea and crumpets style podcast, so we're clutching our pearls as we speak. So, again, we talked about boners for the first 15 minutes.
We're mature.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that pause in also where we all went to get like more beer, right? Just like it's a pause for all of our listeners who are clearly drinking beer.
I actually paused the recording, but
oh wow, you can do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's not gonna have 6 minutes of silence. So that's another podcast. That's what Squad Games did. No, I'm just kidding.
Why are you trying to make enemies, man? We don't need to be doing that.
No, I've got enough enemies out there. So, you know. So next case. I think this is a rules as written, but kind of a douchebag move. And some of the people, when this was submitted, said that if somebody tried to do this, they would punch them. So technically, you can fight someone on a vantage with a door fight on Volkus. Now, Tyler.
I mean, I can also fight you from across the table if I want to. So, let that be known. This is sweaty as fuck. Like, clearly not as the rules intended. Anyone within 2 inches of the door, my ass. Like, that's like same level. Like we have to think of it kind of like extrapolated levels on there. You couldn't do that. That's not okay. Now,
Connor, why is this not a sweaty douchebag move other than rules as written?
Why'd you have to include that not rules as written part? That completely destroys my case.
3 times, and I want something better.
Well, all of these are sweaty douchebag by my heart, minus like maybe using a flamer, but that's a different point. This is not a sweaty douchebag move because these are skilled operatives that we're representing. And these operatives sometimes have such powerful auras and skills and long range of weapons like the Corn Butcher or the Night Lord Skin Thief, where they can just, cut through the floor after all. We've got power swords, those cut through metal. Why can't they cut through the floor of where someone else is standing? It's totally within the reason of Warhammer. It's a crazy game, crazy universe. Totally fits the narrative of the game.
I'm now picturing like a cartoon, where they like cut a circle in the floor like Looney Tunes or whatever, and then, fall through. And that's actually like pretty hilarious just to picture that happening in Kill Team.
I mean, when you put it that way, like if you can, Looney Tunes moves in like, Wile E. Coyote moves, Roadrunner stuff in Kill Team. I mean, that sounds cool.
That's why
I always pictured like breachers in the previous edition, how they were only the breachers could use the hole cut by the hatch cutter. So I always pictured that being like Looney Tunes style. This is the exact outline of a breacher, and if a breacher, if you're not a breacher, you can't fit through because it's the exact outline of a breacher.
That's solid logic, and I accept that as canon for the setting now.
Yeah. It's Looney Tunes logic is the best rules there is. It's why I always allow Rekkas if they want. They can I have my own made up firefight ploy for them. For D3 self wounds, they can rocket jump and gain fly and 2 inches to their movement characteristic. Whereas if you rocket jump, because why can't Rekkas do that?
Oh man, rocket jump is one of the coolest moves in video games. Like
exactly.
I think that's worth at least a D6 of damage, but I would allow that.
Maybe like D3 plus 1.
They got 12 wounds. They can take a D6.
Yeah, I think a D6. Maybe 2D3 plus 1.
Greg, how are you going to rule on this, though?
That being said, I think it's clearly not within the scope of the game. And, I will say I will allow it if you are willing to fight your opponent, like physically fight them.
Oh, like
You
the
know,
corn shadow boxing guy.
yeah, like okay, but you have to fight your opponent for real. And if you win the fight, then you can do it. Otherwise, you can't do it. And of course, obviously, if you chicken out of the fight, you can't do it.
So I
That
think
is one of the,
essentially this move comes down to if you think you can beat up your opponent physically.
yes. So you can
Fair
do it
enough.
if you're like Kimbo Slice or something.
Kimbo Slice,
Oh man,
rest in
that's a deep
peace.
cut at this point. Wait, he
I
died?
know.
I think he did,
Dead?
didn't he?
Wait, he died?
I think he did.
Kimbo's dead, man. Like, if
He died.
anyone,
He died 9 years ago.
I mean, like, I don't doubt it. You know, bro was living a hard life. Like, but that's so, like, 2006, 2007. Ooh,
Yeah. Connor, do you know who Kimbo Slice is?
I mean, I'm assuming a wrestler of some kind.
no, Kimbo
No.
Slice was the man. He was a fighter. Just a fighter. Like, not like you. He did UFC, but he was just like a fighter. You know.
Was his last name really Slice? Because that's pretty cool.
Who know? No, that's
It's
his
his
name.
stage name.
I mean, I
Who-
figured
who
as much, but
knows?
there's people out there that
That's his-
have crazy names.
That's his only name that fucking matters. You know, that's a street name. Like, no one calls him by his government.
Yeah, what I don't know. I went with him because whenever I think of someone who like would just hands down, no questions asked, I will fight you. That is the person I think of.
I mean, definitely. Also, the person you don't want to fight.
Absolutely.
All right. Next case. I'm getting good use out of these this soundboard for once. I really need to go back and fill in more stuff.
It's gonna suck when we get sued for this single episode. And
For sure. I mean, like, it'll be worth it, though. Like, the publicity of getting sued by, like, Law and Order and the People's Court all at once. Amazing. Like, we're gonna shoot to the #1 spot, and people are gonna listen to this. They're gonna be like, "What's this Kill Team game?" And we're gonna be overflowing with players.
I mean, I guess if I was going to pick sounds to use, maybe sounds from legal shows was not the best because, I mean, those are all reality shows. It's all real, so they know how to sue people, right?
yeah,
I mean, Law
Ice-T
and
solves
Order is
crimes
I
every
mean,
day.
I guess
I'm
there's somewhat
actually gonna sue
inspired by
all of
real
you.
events.
I'm gonna sue all of you. I'll see you all on the People's Court for this episode. Emotional trauma.
There's actually there's a guy. Have you ever seen I can't remember his name. The guy who basically goes on Facebook and creates fake accounts and then acts.
Something Parker or something. I want to say.
Yeah. And he basically like acts like he's Target, and somebody will talk shit about Target, and he goes on there and just talks shit to them. Him and his buddy actually went on a couple of these shows to just make some extra money. And
I wish I would have thought of that when these were. I mean, they're still going. Like, it can happen. You know, Chuck, I'll see you in court. Greg, I need to see you. I need to hang out with you. I miss you, buddy. Maybe I'm going to sue you in People's Court.
I'll accept it.
all right, so this is going to be the final one. So put on what was the tie you said you had on, Connor?
My first communion suit and tie from like 3rd grade.
Is that the only suit
are
you
you
have, and
Catholic?
does it still fit?
It just definitely
You're
doesn't fit.
Catholic?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic. I got like confirmed and everything.
Oh, fuck, man. Like, that changes everything about how I perceive you. Honestly.
In like a bad way?
No, just different.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Like a lot more
being
things
Catholic,
make sense.
Like, changes. Yeah, absolutely. Like, so much makes sense now.
Yeah, I was
feel like-
raised for a while until my brother came out as gay, and then that, with a lot of other just stuff in our family life, kind of all ruined the church for us. But at least the new pope is cool with gay people, so that's kind of fun.
I feel like being Catholic gives you a non-practicing Catholic gives you a special appreciation for Warhammer.
Oh, 100%. It's why I'm always with Chuck on like the Blood Angels. It's why I love the AdMech, like in part because they've got the Holy Trinity of like Catholicism, but with a machine god instead. It's great. It's like so much of this shit. I'm like, oh, I kind of get what this is referring to from that weird time I read about it in the Bible or like Bible study class or whatever.
Slam that mic. So, per rules as written, with one piece of terrain, if you set it up correctly, you can take cover from it and gain obscurity from it as well. Now, Tyler, is this sweaty, or is this
Oh,
just
this is probably the sweatiest thing in the game. Actually, this is one of the biggest problems in the game at the top level. Like this is something that it probably doesn't affect 90% of players because, like, people aren't playing like that. But like when you really want to play like that, especially if you're playing by intention, this becomes such an issue. It is far too common for a good player, especially one who is charismatic enough to be able to go, "Hey, we're playing by intention, right? This is like we both know this spot exists here, out here in the terrain, that where I am both obscured and in cover, correct?" And we can both agree on that, especially when it's from a single operative that you're really trying to avoid that shot from, because that's who you're afraid of. Like that's where this really applies. It's not to every operative. It's about that one special operative that has that shot on you that's going to make your life hell. But when you're in cover and you're obscured, it makes you almost invulnerable, especially if you have defensive ploys on there. This is some of the highest, sweatiest things that you can currently do in the setting that's going to make your opponent hate you, especially if you're playing a team that has 10 plus wounds on there and has some way, again, as a defensive ploy to auto retain a save or something like that. That means that they're going to block 2 of your regulars, potentially 1 of your crits on top of that. And you're going to do no damage to them shooting, despite the effort you put into setting up that shot, because they're going to go, "Hey, buddy, I moved into the spot, and we both know that this exists. Do we really need to measure exactly where the spot is? Because we know it's there." And you being the cool guy, because you know it's there, and like everything like that, you're going to say, yeah, man, it's cool. And then it's going to fuck you. It's going to fuck you so hard. I would give them that. Like, I'm going to let them take that shot. I'm going to let them take the double obscurity, because that's how it's written right now. But this rule needs to be fixed ASAP.
I don't know that I've heard you speak as passionately on anything, and I feel like you're a very passionate man about a lot of things as this play.
I have a lot of feelings. Like honestly, this is Dakota and I talk periodically on the phone. And this is one of those things I've really ranted about with him, because I know that it bothers him as much as it bothers me. I think it's one of the most negative things about the game currently, because every good player knows that spot exists, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't, for sake of gameplay, whether it means that the rules are written that way or not. We need to let this go. It needs to be FAQ'd.
So having talked to you and having talked to Dakota on the phone as well, I can only imagine this was 10 straight minutes of Dakota going off on this rule, followed by 10 straight minutes of Tyler going off on this rule, and another 15.
I think you got it backwards. But yeah, basically, yes, you're 100% correct.
Yeah. So with that being said, Connor, I need you to defend this move and not say wrong.
Have you ever been in a haunted house, like for Halloween type thing? You go to like the fairgrounds in your local town, and there's those long spooky hallways you got to walk down.
Yes.
You know how there's like the doors on either side, like those doors that always show up in Scooby-Doo cartoons where you open them and end up on another side, type of deal.
Yes.
When you're at the, like, say, very back end of that hallway, you know someone's there. You can see their line and like the outline of their arm just barely sticking out through one of those doors, and probably know there's a couple other guys within those doorways. Well, anyways, that one guy you can see, he's pretty obscured because you're far away from them. They've got a lot of, heavy walls of the hallway in front of them, and they're right up in the cover of the door archway. It's totally thematic that someone could be both in cover and obscured. It happens in real life. Hell, you look through someone at near a window from far enough away, they'll be obscured by the window and being, close enough that you would say they could take cover behind it if need be.
Objection to your logic and placement in reality.
Overruled. I want to hear this line of questioning.
Wait, I'm the judge.
Yeah, wait, you can't do that.
Hey, I'm the bailiff. I get a little bit of power and it goes to my head. Greg, can you overrule that for me?
I mean, we're just allowing. We'll allow Connor to make his argument.
As I was saying before, interrupted. The fact that this is a game, as we all know, Warhammer's very realistic on top of the Looney Tunes cartoon logic of it. You have to include both of those. It's the yin to the yang, the apple to the pie, the Chris to the rock. It's just these two crazy things going together to make such a wonderful universe that we can all take part and enjoy.
Oh,
The Kimbo to the slice.
Yeah.
this is painful. I think I'm gonna have to concede here. I'm gonna have to drop my case. While I do believe this is the sweatiest move ever, until it is fixed, I think it needs to be allowed.
So, Greg, are you going to allow this case to be dismissed without prejudice by Tyler, or are you going to make this case continue on? And what is your ruling if you do?
So, my ruling is this: the rules as they exist allow it, and GW did not seem to address it. So, you are allowed to make this intention declared. However, as the opponent, I believe it is fully within your rights to pick up the terrain, take a bite out of it, so that it is not large enough to provide both of those things anymore, set it back down on the table, and then say, your move. If you have the guts to do that, then I believe you should be allowed to do that.
I think that's valid. I don't have any arguments here. I will agree to this plea bargain on this case.
So now, Greg, since we are setting legal precedent for Kill Team going forward, what if I were to come back and say, I want to take a shot. I don't have a shot because you're in cover on conceal. If I take a bite out of the terrain and you're no longer in cover, do I have a valid shot?
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, you have to take a bite with your own mouth, chew and swallow.
Yeah, and as long as you don't bump the model while removing the terrain, like no movement of the models that may affect gameplay.
Yeah, or put like a base marker down or something.
Absolutely, it's very important there. But like I will allow this, and in fact, I'm gonna schedule an appointment to get Jaws type grill, so I can bite through terrain easier after this.
I feel like this is actually the beautiful Squad Games MDF terrain. This makes this maneuver much easier. Like if you're on like into the dark and somebody's like standing in a doorway and you got to like pop the tops off and then try and bite through a good 1/4 inch of plastic, that's going to be much harder.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that what's like a high school science fair thing where this kid's testing how much sawdust you can add to a Rice Krispie treat before people notice, and it's way higher than you think it is, and like that's a thing that happened in the Depression era. Like people would add sawdust to food to fill you up on there, make you feel full. So I think that Squad Games, go by Lester's Workshop terrain, the MDF stuff, so we can eat it.
I feel like this is going to be like this is just around the corner, the new TikTok trend of like sawdust smoothies to help you cut calories.
I mean, like I'm ordering a set of the terrain just so I can eat it with my new grill on TikTok, actually, here in upcoming weeks. So look out for that.
No, what we need to do is during right after Thanksgiving, we got to go make gingerbread terrain, and then as we like shoot at people in cover, we take a bite of it to represent it getting blown away.
There's actually an event on the East Coast. I didn't get to go to it this year because I was on my way to Florida, but they actually do that at Christmas time.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I kept talking about. I thought we talked about this last year, where I wanted to do it, but Jenna, maybe I talked to somebody else about it. I wanted to buy a couple kits off of like Amazon or something to get gingerbread houses to make gingerbread Octarius, and Jenna wanted to go like Great British Bake Off and make our own like homemade scratch made gingerbread. And I'm like, you go for it, because these people who are really good at cooking can't do it, and we're just gonna fuck it up. So, and it never happened. So maybe this year, for the White Elephant one, we'll actually get that in place.
That sounds like a good idea.
Well, that brings to close the first session of the Sweat Court. If you have submissions for Sweat Court and you want to hear us forget how the court system works, make objections, go back and forth on stuff, and give you weird rulings and weird defense of stuff, jump in our Discord or hit us up on Instagram.
And then we'll invite you to the Discord.
And if you're listening to this, GW, change that damn rule because we hate it. The obscuring covenant.
Yeah, I made an impassioned argument of complete horseshit, but that stuff needs to be changed ASAP. It
was
stupid.
Good. Like, honestly, Connor, you may have missed your mark as a shitty defense lawyer.
You sound like my mom now. She always said when I was like, you're a shitty little 12-year-old.
Honestly, your job may end at any moment, so maybe now is the time to get back in school and become a lawyer.
Oh God, you're right. I can, all my arguments from 12 years old can come back and be complete horseshit that like just derails the conversation enough for people to just say whatever, just give this guy's want.
I mean, I could see Connor like, in a suit that's 3 sizes too big, like stumbling into court, paperwork going everywhere, pushing up his glasses and like his voice squeaking, and he goes, "I object."
I'm just picturing Connor at 12 years old playing in like a school production of The Trial of Captain Hook.
Nice. That's I think
too close to
Banquo.
home, right there. You can tell by the laugh.
No, I didn't ever do.
I knew there's some Arrested Development fans in here.
Oh yeah, me and Nick love that show. We send each other references about it like pretty regularly.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Greg, thanks for staying up late. I know we kept you up. It's like almost midnight on the East Coast, and we really appreciate you coming out. So
yeah, happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
We missed you, Greg. Can't wait to see you next time.
Miss you all too, and I can't wait to see Chuck and Connor at Adepticon.
Yeah, we got 6 weeks, something like that. So 5 weeks. So don't worry, I'll have a drink or 5 with him for you, Tyler.
Please. For every drink you would have for me, have one for yourself also. Black Tooth Grin, that's my drink.
Oh yeah, that's it's one of my new favorites now too, since you turned me on to that in Vegas, among other things.
It's so good. It's so good. It's like just like the right amount of whiskey. Canadian whiskey too, which I fucking hate. I've had like the worst nights ever on Canadian whiskey, but like a little bit of Coke in there, just like that splash, evens it out, makes it so good.
Yeah, it's the cocaine that really makes it better.
Absolutely. I mean, like, what doesn't it make better?
It's true. So, yeah. So thanks again, Rob, for that idea. It was I had a really good time being the bailiff and not forgetting what my job was. And again, like I said, if anybody has ideas and you want us to adjudicate your griefs about Kill Team, let us know. So, I want to say thank you to all of our Patreons. Let me pull them up real quick. You can go to patreon.com/Vox Cascadia podcast if you want to join. Greg is on there. We got a free one. Morgan's on there too. Scott, Zach, Rob. Love you, Rob. Spanaway free. Zarin, here's your mention. Gonna bump up another tier. Holly, Nick, Sean, Sam, my buddy who I hung out with at the coast with this past weekend, Cody, and then Jenna. So we really appreciate the support, helping us keep the lights on, and so we can do more bullshit like this. So thank you so much.
You're all the best.
Yeah. Check us out on Painting Cave Minis for Chuck, Spanaway everywhere for Connor, and then Lowbrow Minis for me, and then also dicethrower.bigcartel.com. I got a 1-of-1 hoodie posted up on there right now. You can go get that if you want it in 2XL.
Greg, you got any socials anywhere anybody can find you besides the Kill Team Cascadia Discord and lately the video games channel, because you're apparently real good at Marvel Rivals?
I don't know if I go that far. I've just been playing a lot.
The Sweat Court is coming for you on Marvel Rivals. Great.
That's accurate.
Greg, I've got some bad news about that game, if you haven't seen today.
What's that?
The lead director and his team for the game all got let go, which is insane because they're probably printing money for that company, and they just all lost their job.
The
I heard that
U.S.
got blown out of
team,
proportion. It was
yeah,
actually a local rep or something like that.
like
Oh,
six U.S. Developers, excuse me, out of Seattle. But
Man. You guys are all playing Marvel Rivals, and here I am playing Tokyo Extreme Racer 2025. You
That
know,
does sound cool as shit, the way you
dude,
describe it.
it's fucking so good. Like I'm 30 hours into it. Like it's so good. If you want a Dark Souls game with cars, like where you're fucking Wengen racing against other fucking cool ass cars, like anime style, um, on Japanese freeways, like realistic but arcade style. It's fucking dope. It's worth your $30. Go buy it right now.
you know what I
Huh.
actually started playing last week too, besides Rivals, is Avowed on Xbox, and I'm having a really good time with it. If you,
People are loving it,
yeah,
man.
if
Like
you
I keep
like
seeing it.
Skyrim stuff, but more streamlined, and from the people that did, I think it's the people that did New
It's
Vegas.
Obsidian, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh wait, Avowed is Obsidian.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa! That completely changes my entire opinion of checking out that game. So I'm probably gonna go buy it right now.
If you, I mean, if you want to try it out, you can do PC Game Pass and play it
Yeah.
for a month for $20.
I got PC Game Pass, so I'm gonna go download it then.
Yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. It's been tough because I've been wanting to play Rivals, so I can kind of be halfway as good as Greg. I'm bronze 2 now, so represent. But Avowed's been really fun too, and I think I'm actually gonna go play it after this.
Hell yeah! All right,
Nice.
have a great night, gentlemen.
But to actually answer your question, Chuck, I'm pretty social media averse, so you can find me in the KTC Discord. I'm still pretty active on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, wish I
absolutely.
was too.
Come chat with Greg because he's super cool and he has a lot of cool opinions about rules and other things.
or come see us at Adepticon. If you're going, let us know.
If you come to Adepticon, that'll be cool. But also, if you do abide by my ruling and eat your terrain, please take a picture and send it to the Vox Cascadia folks. I would love to see
Yes,
that on the Instagram,
Yeah.
even though
we
I
are
don't have an
not
account and I couldn't see it myself.
we are not picking up any dentist bills that result from it though. So, and by the way, also if we ruled something that you do, this is all for fun and games. Not we don't really think you're a sweaty douchebag, except Connor.
Why am I getting the bad rep here? I play with anyone.